Meet the Robertson clan.
The final season of a TV sensation.
It's been over 5 years we've been filming this show, which is on television, it's a lifetime.
But these Robertsons aren't slowing down.
I don't want to limit myself or limit God or anything.
And now they're trading their duck calls for fishing rods.
You learn patience and you learn how to stick with it. The world kind of really slows down.
On today's 700 Club.
Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Terry, it has been roasting hot here. It's been in the high 70s. Yesterday was unbelievably hot. But there's good news.
What's that?
An Arctic freeze is coming our way by the 10th of December, according to one forecaster. Have you got your fur coat? Did you put them?
Just say your idea of good news and my idea of good news are not synonymous.
You do dream of a white Christmas, don't you?
Well, yeah, I can dream about it. It doesn't mean I want to walk through it.
Hey, you know the guy that wrote I'm Dreaming of a White Christmas, you know where he was?
Probably Palm Springs.
That's right. He was in he was in L.A. I mean, he'd never been to anything with snow. He was in L.A. He was dreaming of a white.
The Hallmark
Channel. Yeah, well, he writes pretty music. Anyhow, that's what they say. By the 10th of December, an Arctic freeze is coming, and some temperatures up in the Alaska will be minus 50. It's going to be cold, but we'll see. We'll see if these forecasters are right. But I think a little cold air wouldn't hurt us.
No, well, I mean, I actually find it refreshing, and it kills the bugs, and I'm good with that.
Okay, well, get ready to freeze. Well, okay. Well, President-elect Donald Trump is saying thank you to the voters of America. He's reaching out today to Ohio and Indiana, where he worked out a deal to keep jobs at a carrier plant. It's part of his plan to make the American economy great again.
Well, Trump's team is talking about their vision to rebuild the economy, including cutting taxes and government regulations. Mark Martin has the story.
President-elect Donald Trump has made it clear he wants to add jobs and boost the economy. Giving the country a financial facelift is a key goal of Trump, and he's on his way. He worked out a deal to keep close to 1,000 jobs in Indianapolis at this carrier factory. Company leaders first announced plans to move work to Mexico.
Is to move production from our facility in Indianapolis to Monterrey, Mexico.
The details of the president-elect's deal are unclear, but workers are ecstatic.
This is a victory for us little people.
Trump's picks for key economic positions also reflect his plans to get the economy growing again. His choice for Treasury Secretary, former Goldman Sachs executive Steven Mnuchin, says that will be job one.
And our number one priority is going to be the economy, get back to 3 to 4% growth. We believe that's very sustainable, and focus on things for the American worker. That's absolutely our priority.
Mnuchin says the Trump administration's tax plan will help bring the economy back.
Lowering corporate taxes so we make U.S. companies the most competitive in the world, making sure we repatriate trillions of dollars back to the United States, and the personal income taxes, where we're going to have the most significant middle income tax cut since Reagan.
For Secretary of Commerce, Trump tapped billionaire investor Wilbur Ross, a man known as the king of bankruptcy, for buying downtrodden companies that have the potential to produce big profits. Politico reports that Democrats are expected to give Mnuchin a tough time during his confirmation hearing over his actions during the mortgage financial crisis and his Wall Street resume, saying that it shows that Trump ran for president as a champion of blue-collar America, but he'll act as a Wall Street plutocrat after he becomes president. Will that be enough to keep Mnuchin on the sidelines? Probably not. Politico says it's likely he still will be confirmed. Mark Martin, CBN News.
Well, they did the nuclear option under the Democrats, and so the new rules of the Senate are you need a simple majority to confirm a cabinet appointee, and if the Republicans don't stand with Trump, there's something the matter. Of course, there's some very vulnerable Democrats up there, by the way, and they don't dare oppose the president because a couple of years from now, they're going to be up for election, and Mr. Trump is very popular in their state. Well, Stephen Orr is with us right now. He's an economist with FreedomWorks, and he's an advisor to the Trump campaign. Good to have you back with us, sir. Thank you.
Hi, Pat. I heard you talking about an Arctic freeze coming. You know, I'd love to see
an Arctic budget freeze in Washington and freeze some of the spending so we can get this budget under control.
That's the least they can do. Hey, look, how's it going to work? You know, the idea is to hit them fast with a whole program. I mean, is it going to be like, here is a plan for cutting a few rates, or is it going to be a comprehensive tax overhaul? We couldn't put that through that fast, could we?
You know, I think it's going to be like Secretariat just bursting out of the starting gate. I think this is a president who wants to get this done and wants to get it done really quickly, Pat. You know, you've known me for a long time. I've been working on tax reform for 20, 25 years. I think the moment has arrived. We think that we could get something through the House maybe in a month or so, because Paul Ryan and others have been working on a plan that's very similar to the one that I helped put together for Donald Trump. And then we move to the Senate, and you're right, the Senate has tended to be the graveyard of legislation. But this could, and I just want to make one point. You know, you were talking about maybe using the process which only requires 51 votes in the Senate, called reconciliation. I would submit to you, Pat, that because we're talking about a jobs bill here that will really help the Midwestern states and so much of the country recover the jobs that have been lost, I actually think you could get a tax bill, maybe with some infrastructure spending, that could pass with 70, 75 votes in the Senate. I mean, it's been a long time since we've seen that kind of bipartisanship. But, you know, Donald Trump is on a roll right now.
All right, well, let's talk about the tax bill. You're going to cut the corporate rate down to 15%. It'll be the lowest in the world, maybe. And
Ireland will still have a lower rate, but we'll be the second lowest. And by the way, we're now the highest in the world, so that's going to make a big difference.
Well, and then we repatriate. There's at least $3 trillion in money that's overseas that gets brought back. Now, what do you do? Give them a tax holiday if they invest in the Midwest, or what's the plan? Or a 10% tax on it, or what?
So we don't know exactly how much there is overseas, but some people say $2 trillion, and I've heard other people say $3 trillion. We're not going to know until we actually put the tax in place. But the way it works is we're telling these companies, look, you bring that money that you've got in China or Mexico or the Bahamas and bring it back to the United States and reinvest it here or pay it out in dividends to your shareholders, and we will charge you just a one-time 10% tax. Now think about this. Pat, this is the ultimate win-win, because the United States gets the jobs, and the shareholders get more money in their pockets, and then the federal treasury could raise $200 billion that we could use for other purposes or retire the debt. I never understood the argument against it.
All right, well, look, the Democrats want that jobs bill. The last time they had that infrastructure thing, it was nothing but a boondoggle. Yeah. They used the money, it was almost $750 billion, and they used it to favor Democrat parties, and it went nowhere. What's going to be different this time?
Well, that's a great question. By the way, where are all those shovel-ready jobs that Barack Obama promised 8 years ago? So we don't want to duplicate that failure. I think, by the way, some of this infrastructure that Donald Trump is talking about could be privately financed. For example, I've made the case that if we do the energy, production that could be done in this country with respect to oil, gas, and coal, we're going to need pipelines, Pat. We're going to need the pipelines to get the energy to the markets where it's needed. As you know, President Obama has held up something called the Keystone Pipeline now for 7 years, but there are maybe as many as a dozen other pipelines that need to be built. Now, that's not going to cost the taxpayer a penny. Private sector will build it as long as we get the permits that allow the pipelines to be built. Roads and bridges do need to be repaired, but we need to basically get the money to the states so they can spend it on the highest priority projects.
Well, the idea from that, say, $3 trillion, and you take 10% of that, $300 billion, and you use that money for infrastructure. Is that the plan? I mean,
possibly. Yeah. Possibly. That's what. And if you have a plan like that, Pat, where you're doing one of the biggest business tax cuts ever, and look, if businesses pay less taxes and they have more money in the bank, what are they going to do? They're going to hire more workers. They're going to pay their workers more. So it's going to benefit the workers. And then you add to that, some infrastructure spending that will add additional employment. If you're a Democrat, how do you vote against that?
Well, they like it. Well, Mnuchin, by the way, has he had that Indy Mac deal that he made a fortune on. But they'll scream and fulminate, but they can't stop him in the Senate, can they?
No, I mean, he will be confirmed. And look, I think I'm excited, Pat. You can tell I'm in a ebullient mood today because I'm looking at these great people that Donald Trump is putting in these positions. It's going to be a real revolution. I'm going to make the case to you, Pat, that if things continue down this course and Donald Trump does the things that he's promised he's going to do, this could be as conservative an administration as Ronald Reagan's. And certainly with respect to the people that are being put in place, the personnel are fantastic. So I think if you're a conservative and you want a conservative reform, you have to love the way things are going. One other quick point, Pat. I don't know if you noticed what happened with the consumer confidence numbers that just came out a couple of days ago. The biggest increase in consumer confidence this month in 20 years.
Yeah.
20 years. People are really feeling confident and optimistic about the future of this country.
Well, the stock market is that way. Well,
You got it.
The picks, I tell you, have been brilliant as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
It looks like Trump has a deft hand. I mean, he's got somebody that was a Sikh, background in at one position. He's got somebody else who's an African American. He's got a wonderful blending, women, men, their skill sets, and then he's got somebody like Wilbur Ross, who is a genius in turning around steel companies. He picked up all those failing steel companies and sold it to ArcelorMittal, the Indian company. It was brilliant. I mean, the guy's smart.
He is, and I've made the case that if Donald Trump is going to be successful and be reelected in 2020, he's going to have to deliver the jobs and the economic development for those areas in the Midwest, like Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Iowa, Wisconsin, states that for the first time in a long time voted Republican because those workers are really hurting. We have to make a priority bringing the jobs back. That's why I love the Carrier story that you reported on this morning, Pat. Already, he's not even in office yet, and already he saved 1,000 jobs.
Well, one last thing, you impressing upon him, and he needs to get impressed. The Democrats are going to come and say, be reasonable, Donald. Be reasonable. Don't be an extremist. We want to make peace, and you just come along with us. That's a siren song that'll destroy him, isn't it?
I've seen it too many times where, people come, what's the old saying? People come to drain the swamp and then they jump in, they discover it's a hot tub. I don't think that's going to happen with Donald Trump. I think he really is serious about downsizing the bureaucracy, taking the power out of Washington, because this town is booming right now. And no city in America has been booming more than Washington under Barack Obama. Take the power and money out of Washington and get it back to the states and localities that need it for the jobs that haven't been, the average worker in the last 15 years hasn't had a pay raise. It's about time they got one.
Well, I'm for it. Steve, thank you so much for being with us. Stephen Moore, ladies and gentlemen, and we have nothing but the highest hopes for this administration. And so far, Trump is making some extraordinarily wise moves. He's having a little bit of trouble with the Secretary of State. We're not quite sure where that's going to go, but in any event, they have in the Republican Party what is known in football as a deep bench. They have many, many capable players, many capable governors, many capable congressmen, many capable senators, and many capable businessmen. And so when you enlist the aid of all those people, put them together, you get a winning team, and that's what we're going to see. Well, in other news, the massive wildfire in eastern Tennessee has devastated the cities of Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge, the beautiful resort area. At least 7 people are dead in what's being called the area's worst disaster in 100 years. But this small community is coming together, as Caitlin Burke reports from Gatlinburg.
Smoke can still be seen hovering over the Great Smoky Mountains, a sign, according to fire officials, of the danger that lingers. You can see the smoke coming up behind me from that charred area of mountain. One of the big concerns now, after a day full of rain on Wednesday, is that the rain didn't go deep enough, that there are still these hot spots, like the one you see behind me, that the rain didn't touch, and those fires could pop back up given the right conditions.
This morning, we've still got over 200 firefighters, boots on the ground this morning, that are out working. They're either fighting fires, they're driving through areas doing reconnaissance, they're doing search, and we're still working. We plan to still be working for quite some time.
Many of the firefighters working to make these mountains safe again also call them home.
They've not wavered. Even the ones that's lost everything and lost their home and everything else, They've not asked to be off. They've been here and working.
It's hard to find a member of this community not affected in some way by these fires. That's not stopping them, however, from showing up and pitching in any way that they can. We met these nurses at the Rocky Top shelter, volunteering even after working long shifts of their own.
It's hard, but we're strong people. It's in our DNA. We're strong, we're tough, we're country, and we stick together, and we'll get through it.
Senior Chaplain Paul Lambert of the Sevier County Fire Department says that he's faced disasters before, but never so close to home. Still, he spent the last 3 days on the front lines offering support and even driving the water truck to firefighters up in the mountains.
Just keep praying for us. We're a big faith-based community. We love the Lord, and we just want everybody to keep praying and continue thoughts and prayers for this community as we rebuild.
Meanwhile, the local church is actively supporting not only its members impacted by the fires, but the entire community. Pastor Brent Freeman has been meeting with city leaders, business owners, and influential community members to come up with a plan to care for the displaced.
We've identified the Gatlinburg Foundation Relief Fund, and I know it's weird going to a bank website for that, but smartbank.com, easy website to remember. The very top of their homepage is a relief fund, and 100% of those proceeds are going right to the town of Gatlinburg, and they're going to take it right to the people that need it the most.
Pastor Brent shared with us what he plans to remind his church of this week in the wake of what many of them have been through.
My job is to make sure our people understand that, hey, God's not mad at us. It's not like he doesn't love us, but life happens. You never know when a storm is coming your way. Are you prepared?
An important message from the Red Cross. They're asking people to hold off on sending more stuff. As you can see behind me, they've got plenty of water bottles. They've got plenty of donations coming in. And right now, honestly, they're just running out of places to put everything. This is a small community, and they just need to take a moment and assess where everything needs to go. For CBN News, reporting in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, I'm Caitlin Burke.
Again, my heart goes out to those people. It's a beautiful part of the country. Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge is just an ideal spot, and they're talking about arson. They're not sure exactly, but there's some suspicion of arson, that some awful, evil person set fire to those beautiful mountains. And they say the wind was almost at hurricane level at some places, up to 85 miles an hour. And of course, whipping the blaze has just been horrible. So we'll pray for them, and I'm so glad that they've got enough supplies to take care of them. But they need the anointing of the Lord, and they need some heavy rain to put those fires out. And the Lord can send that. Terry?
Well, coming up, they may be America's favorite duck hunters, but they say our country was shaped by a different sport.
I think with fishing, you can learn a lot about yourself and about others.
And you feel closer to God when you fish.
I do.
Willie Robertson talks about his family's first love and the conclusion of Duck Dynasty when we come back. Hard to believe, but today is the first day of December, and it's the perfect time to get into the holiday spirit. This year, we're inviting you to let your friends and neighbors know what the season is truly about by getting our Christmas cling. I didn't really know that's what you called these, but you can put it on the window of your home, next to the lights. You can also be a bold witness by putting it on display in your car. You don't need permission. You get to do this because you want to. So watch for your mailbox to be filled with the Christmas cling if you're a CBN partner. And if you're not one, we're happy to send you one for free. We just want you to be able to wish a Merry Christmas to everyone in your life. Just call us at 800-700-7000, or you can log on to cbn.com. Help spread the joy to your community, and most importantly, encourage them to keep Christ in Christmas. Pat?
Well, we don't know whether we're kin to those Robertsons or not. They're kind of country for us, but nevertheless,
I love them.
Everybody loved the Robertson family, and we're proud of them, whatever they are. But the fans of Duck Dynasty are enjoying the final season of that hit reality series featuring colorful Robertson family. But the end of the A&E show doesn't mean the end of the spotlight. Ephraim Graham sat down with Duck Commander CEO Willie Robertson to talk about his new book and what's ahead for the family.
Meet the Robertson clan. They turned duck calls into a multi-million-dollar empire. But running a family business is tough when the family just wants to run wild.
Millions fell in love with the Robertsons when they began sharing the family business and their daily life on television.
Willie, are you as excited as I am about your reunion this weekend?
Reunion? Willie, do I have to remind you how much you've changed since high school?
He still looks the same.
Now, after breaking cable ratings records, sometimes averaging more than 11 million viewers, Duck Dynasty is coming to an end.
It's been over 5 years we've been filming the show, which is on television, it's a lifetime. There's always something going on, and so we'll just wait and see what happens. I'm not a big goal guy. I don't try to set my 5-year plan. No, not at all. Well, you think about it like this. 5 years ago, if someone would ask me what my goal was, I probably would have been way short of what was going to happen. And so I don't want to limit myself or limit God or anything. It'll be nice at some point to slow down a little bit and kind of enjoy some of the things that we've done.
That Willie Robertson slowdown will have to wait. The husband, father, and CEO has a new show with the family's famous uncle, Cy.
I got myself a show about the internet. I'm not even sure what that is yet.
It's called Going Viral, and Willie's the show's sidekick. Plus, he's written a new book, The American Fisherman, How Our Nation's Anglers Founded, Fed, Financed, and Forever Shaped the USA.
I mean, to be honest, growing up, we were way more about fishing, even than hunting, because we fished for fun, just like we hunted for fun, but we also, Dad had kind of had this duck call that he was trying to sell, and so we were trying to get it off the ground, but to pay the bills, my dad fished. He was a commercial fisherman.
In reading, you said that fishing is how parents and children discover what they're made of together.
Right.
How so?
Well, I think with fishing, you can learn a lot about yourself, and about others. You learn patience and you learn how to, stick with it. You can't see what exactly you're going after, and so I think we learn a lot about ourselves, especially nowadays. Just the world kind of really slows down.
Is Dad still the best fisherman you know?
Probably so. Probably so. I mean, he knows, he's probably forgotten more about fishing than the rest of us have even learned. But yeah, he could fish for really anything.
And your dad took your son and the girl he was dating.
Actually, one of my favorite episodes of Duck Dynasty.
You got old Papaw here being your chaperone. What's your opinion on that?
Well,
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Now, Jean-Luc, never touch her below the neck until you sign the dotted line. That's being a gentleman about it, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. That helps.
So he starts talking about all these sexually transmitted diseases, and so that's his dating advice. Now, what's funny was I heard the same speech when I was 15.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, and I got so tickled, and so I went to my father, and I said, Dad, I saw the episode where you were giving the advice, and I'm laughing, and Dad said, I wasn't being funny. I said, I know, that's what's so funny about it, because you didn't know. But, yeah, he kind of had the shock therapy with all of us, and it's still going.
When you're young, all you hear everybody, on television and the internet, sex, oh, what are we going to do with ourselves? Don't even entertain that thought.
Fishing anchors the Robertson family. And in writing his book, Willie learned how it also anchors American history. George Washington, Franklin Roosevelt, Dwight Eisenhower, George H.W. Bush, and even George W. Bush were all avid fishermen.
We talk about the relationship of presidents and fishing. We now have a new president who you were a big supporter of.
Right.
You're going to take Donald Trump fishing?
I need to get him out fishing. He's in a good spot. I'm already eyeballing Camp David. Because that'd be a cool deal.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm thinking, maybe, you know, I haven't asked for many favors yet, so maybe my favor would be to take him out at Camp David, and it would be neat, right, to where all these presidents have been, and just to be there. And his son, Donald Trump Jr., he and I have hunted together. In fact, he was at the house last year. We hunted together, and so he's a big outdoorsman and likes to fish. And so I don't know that Mr. Trump is a big fisherman, but I'm sure he probably has some. But I'd love to be able to take him out and do some sort of fishing.
And you feel closer to God when you fish.
I do.
After all, God has called all believers to be fishers of men. Ephraim Graham, CBN News, New York.
Well, I didn't know that about all those presidents. I remember Jim Baker, who was chief of staff, said, I want to show you the picture of me fishing with the leader of the free world. And he had pictures that they were out in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, I think, fishing. And so,
well, some of those places are so beautiful. I mean, you'd fish,
lovely.
You'd hunt, you'd do anything just to be in the great outdoors there.
Well,
It's so
I
remarkable.
don't think Donald Trump, I think he's a deal maker. He likes to play golf, but I can't see him fishing or hunting. I just don't think that's his bag, but we'll see. All right, what's next?
Well, up next, a woman remembers her glory days as a young actress in Hollywood.
Living in Malibu on the beach. Nicolette Sheridan and Leif Garrett are upstairs, and we hang out together on the ocean, and like life couldn't get any better.
But it could get a whole lot worse, and it does. See how a shame-filled secret brings this actress to her knees. Dana Casper was a young actress living the glamorous Hollywood life, but soon she realized that not all that glitters is truly gold.
I'm in Hollywood, I'm in the thick of it. I'm living in Malibu on the beach. Nicolette Sheridan and Leif Garrett are upstairs, and we hang out together on the ocean, and like life couldn't get any better.
Dana Casper was living her dream. But behind the scenes of her glamorous world of acting, Dana had a secret. Abandoned by her father as a baby and raised by a single mom, she spent her childhood in the care of babysitters.
After swimming one day, you know, he asked me to follow him into his bedroom for nap time. And I really didn't know what was taking place because I thought this person was wonderful and he was a good friend of the family and someone I looked up to and expected to keep me safe. And instead, he harmed me sexually.
A year later, Dana fell prey to another abuser.
Afterwards, I felt great guilt and shame. It was the huge shift in my heart. It's when my world really turned upside down.
To ease the pain of her abuse, Dana escaped into the world of television and film.
You don't want to be there, so you try to be somewhere else. And I perfected disassociation and being somewhere else. I could be whoever I wanted to be. I could be the actor on TV. I could be Julie Andrews in Sound of Music with all the kids, and I could sing like her. And I could run on the meadows, and everything pure and good, and that purity and that goodness, you know, I held on to that.
But that escape was only temporary, so she turned to other things to ease the pain.
I started experimenting with drugs, alcohol, hanging out, you know, with people everywhere.
After high school, Dana moved to Hollywood to work in the film industry. It was the perfect place to bury the shame and guilt she carried.
I didn't have to think about me. And then to be in that, where everything is pretend, it was a good place for me to continue the pretend. Because if I let it out, I'd be found out for the badness that I was. And then I would be rejected again and abandoned again and not be loved.
Dana quickly found success in Tinseltown. As she embraced the Hollywood lifestyle, she fell headlong into drugs and alcohol abuse, and something more.
worked at ABC Motion Pictures and went to all the parties and worked at 20th Century Fox for years and publicity and promotion, thinking that would make me happy. You know, oh gosh, if you're in, you know, the movie business, if you're in Hollywood, if you're working at Fox and you're with somebody that's important, you're going to be happy. But they're passing cocaine underneath the table at business lunches. So it drove me deeper into depravity instead of being any kind of lifeline.
Then Dana became pregnant. She decided to have an abortion. She quickly regretted that decision.
I remember the guy calling the hospital after it happened when I'm in recovery and just feeling like, you know, oh God, just let me die. You know, that's how I felt. I just wanted to really die.
Later, Dana got into a relationship and became pregnant again. But a week before she found out, some friends talked her into taking LSD. This time, doctors talked her into an abortion. Dana had had enough. One night, she fell on her knees in desperation.
And I just wanted to end life. So I'm on my knees and I'm hysterical and I'm just ready to end it. And I cried out to Jesus to please help me.
Dana surrendered her heart to the Lord.
He heard the depths of my heart. He knew I needed help.
Dana says for the first time she had hope. She went through AA and with God's help, put away drugs and alcohol. She also forgave her abusers and received God's healing, forgiveness, and love.
I didn't want to drink. Like, I didn't want to drink, which is remarkable because I love to be social and drink. And that was the beginning of walking out of the pit of hell.
Today, Dana is married and has 2 daughters. She's an advocate for victims of sexual abuse. The love she found through Jesus Christ has given her peace.
He saw in my heart to receive his love, and that helps me love myself, and that helps me love others. In the storm of life, he is the rock. It will be the sweetest life you ever lived. If you want joy, the road to joy is Jesus.
You and I are created in the image and the likeness of God, our Father. It's not just that we're created with some of him in our DNA. We're created to be relational with him. And so when we step away from that, you can see Dana's case is such a perfect picture of that. All the things that the world tells you will make you happy, all the things that make you feel significant, all the things that somehow woo you to them are hollow. They're empty. And her story is such a reflection of that. When you get there, you're with the people you thought would be so great. You're doing the things you thought would be so satisfying. You're in positions that others would be desiring, and you've got it, and yet you have nothing. Not only, excuse me, not only do you have nothing, but you are empty, 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 empty. And then we start pedaling faster and faster to try to catch the carrot hanging out in front of us, the carrot of happiness, the carrot of purpose, the carrot of significance. And we make one bad choice after another. You know, you get so discouraged, you just want to say what she said, I want to stop this. I don't want to live anymore. But what she shared is so true. With Jesus, you get a start over, not a patched up version of the mess you've created. I mean a real start over. Healing from the past, vision for what God created you to be, that kind of love that your heart longs for. And you know, another human being can't give you that. It's not about finding the right spouse. It's about finding the creator you were intended to have relationship with. If you have not found that in your life, today is the day to start. Don't put it off anymore. What are you waiting for? Come home to the heart of God. He is the one who says, I will never leave you or forsake you. He defines himself as your heavenly Father. He's the one that your heart is longing for. So say yes. Just say yes to his invitation and recognize the need you have in your own life for forgiveness of yourself for the choices you've made and forgiveness of the people who've harmed you. There's a freedom that comes with that. Right now, just say, Jesus, I am a sinner in need of a Savior. Forgive my sin today. And list them. I mean, list them. You know them all. He knows them all, but you need to hear yourself say it. And then say, come into my heart. I give you my life. Will you give me your life in me? Will you show me how to live? Will you give me a fresh beginning? I can tell you the answer is yes, because God's word says it is not his heart that anyone should perish, but that all should have life and have it abundantly. If you've prayed that prayer, or if you need to pray with someone about something, our number's toll-free, 1-800-700-7000. Just call, and you don't even have to give your name if you don't want to. But if you've asked Christ into your heart to forgive your sins, to give you new life, ask for a new day. This is free. We put it together just for you, filled with information about how do you walk with Jesus? How do you live with him and for him and have him live in you? This is yours. It's our gift to you. 1-800-700-7000. Well, still ahead, we've got your email questions. Katie says, my husband is seeing another woman and he even invites her over. He gets angry when I bring it up. What can I do? I'll bet Pat's got an answer to Sally's question. We'll be back right after this.
And welcome back to the 700 Club. Recovery efforts are underway in states like Alabama, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Tennessee after they were hit by deadly tornadoes Tuesday night. The National Weather Service confirmed at least 19 twisters damaged homes, splintered barns, and toppled trees. Look at that. At least 5 people were killed. Residents say they're thankful for rescue teams, shelters, and their community's help.
Thankful and grateful they opened up the church to do this. I feel blessed for sitting here because I have a place to go.
I've got a lot of good neighbors to help out and cleaning up and rebuilding.
A house is just a house, but you can't replace your family and friends.
Amen. Well, these are the nation's first deadly tornadoes in over 6 months. A nativity scene was removed from a public park in northern Michigan after complaints from the Freedom from Religion Foundation. But it didn't take long for a local pastor to find it a new home. Pastor David Pinnell offered to take the exhibit from the city and place it in front of his homeless shelter instead.
You know, it's kind of appropriate that the baby Jesus' home is now at the homeless shelter, seeing there was no room at the inn for him.
No room at the inn, love it. Habitat for Humanity is setting up the display to go with the shelter. Good for them. And you can always get the latest from CBN News by going to our website at cbnnews.com. Pat and Terry will be back with more of the 700 Club right after this.
Well, it's time to answer some of your email as we bring it on today. And Pat, this first one comes from Katie, who says, my husband is seeing a woman who is half his age. He encouraged her to divorce her husband. They talk every day. She even comes over to our home most days. They meet outside on the road, so I can't hear what's being discussed between the two of them. When I talk to him about it, he gets angry. What can I do?
You can tweak him pretty hard on that one. That's outrageous. He just thinks you're a doormat. He's taken advantage of you. I cannot believe that you're allowing this to happen. So you're asking us, what do you do? Well, very frankly, you go to a lawyer and you ask that lawyer that you would like to get a decree of separation and maintenance from your husband. And then you serve him with the appropriate papers. He is carrying on an affair. You don't know if it's sexual. It's obviously sexual, but I mean, whether it's they're consummating, you don't know, but you think so. But there's no question that he is committing a type of adultery. and you don't have to put up with it. So what should you do? Just very quietly, don't announce what you're doing. Go quietly to a lawyer and say, I want the appropriate papers, and then maybe, always keep out the thought of reconciliation. God is a God of restoration, but in this case, your husband, I can't understand it, but you're allowing him to be done, and you're an enabler, so don't allow it anymore, all right?
Does end maintenance mean letting him know what this is going to cost him?
Maintenance means you pay the bills, exactly.
I like that part.
You
that
like the maintenance part.
Katie. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. This is David who says, how is the vote recount attack going to affect the Trump election? Is he in jeopardy?
Not really. This whole thing is ridiculous. This Stein is just absurd. The whole thing, in my opinion, is a
Who's
fun.
behind it, Pat? It's not.
Well, I think George Soros, from what I understand, is picking up the tab. He wants to do anything to hurt, and the whole thing is to delegitimize the Trump election, because Trump is getting ready to do a revolution in the government of our country, and the progressives have imposed all these horrible things on it. Can you imagine? You know what the president did? He blamed Fox News on his defeat, the defeat of Hillary Clinton. Fox News, a cable news network.
Yeah, she had everybody else
But
on her side.
I mean, blaming a cable news network on your defeat. You're defeated because of Obamacare. You're defeated because of those crazy regulations. You're defeated on the fact that the GDP hadn't grown at about 1% over the last 3 or 4 years. That's why you get defeated, and then the poor middle class is taking it in the neck. Okay, I don't know how I got off on that, but all right, do the next.
That was good. Okay, here's Jean who says, Pat, why does God allow my heart to keep breaking? I'm 26 years old and would love to get married and start a family. I was engaged to a great man, and he passed away at a young age. I've dated other men, and they've all broken my heart. Is there a prayer I can say to heal my heart? I just truly want to find love and be a mother. Please help.
I want to say it sounds hard, but the best way to get a man is to make him think he's chasing you. And if he thinks you're chasing him, and with the thought of, I want to get married, I want to have babies, and you're the man, and the guy says, oh, I'm like deer caught in the headlights. Just chill. Yeah. I mean, that's the big thing.
She's only 26.
You're too anxious about it. And you fall in love with the Lord, and then say, God, I'm yours, and I want to do what you want to do, and let this happen. And then relax. Yeah. But you hit these relationships with all this tension, and the men feel that, and they get scared. I mean, that's the way it is. So let him think that he's chasing you.
That's right. Good advice.
Good advice. Thank you, Terry. All right.
And thank you for your questions. We love hearing from you. We welcome them, just so that you know you can submit them at cbn.com. Well, coming up, another freedom fighter, one dedicated to rescuing the untouchables of India. He'll share his story when we return.
To listen to our top songs of the week, go to CBN Radio at cbn.com.
India is the largest democracy on earth, but a fourth of the people there practically have no voice. They are the outcasts, the unwilling victims of a social prejudice that has endured for thousands of years.
The 3,000-year-old caste system in India categorizes people by their occupation. The Dalit, or lowest caste, literally means oppressed, downtrodden, or exploited. The Dalits are called untouchable to this day. The Dalit Freedom Network, headed by Dr. Joseph D'Souza, works to bring education, healthcare, and economic empowerment to the Dalits.
Bishop Moderator Dr. Joseph D'Souza is here with us now, and we welcome you to the 700 Club. You know, this is such a foreign thing, I think, to Americans, the caste system and understanding how it works. But define what a Dalit is, or who a Dalit is.
A Dalit is really an outcast of the caste system. Mm-hmm. There are 4 castes, and everybody is in a hierarchy of purity and impurity, pollution, and non-pollution, or holiness or unholiness. The Dalits and the tribals are complete outcasts.
They're underneath the four caste systems,
out of the
right?
caste.
They're not even...
They're not even included in that.
Yeah.
And
So what does it mean to be a Dalit?
For 2,000 years, it has meant to be excluded from all kinds of civil rights. And it's not just not having social rights, it's not having economic rights, it's not having spiritual rights within the system, and then to be discriminated. And in today's world, where modern slavery has become such a big issue, everybody knows that they are the primary victims of the global modern slavery system. Every index shows more than 50-60% of world's modern slaves are among the Dalits.
So what makes you a Dalit? Is it poverty? Is it something you're born into? Can you escape it?
It's determined by birth. And the thinking is it's linked to a past life and a karma in a past life. And
so it's all part of the whole Hindu.
It is part of a caste system, and there's a huge debate about where it came from and who created it, and there are Hindus who are saying we didn't create it and all. We don't want to get into that. But the basic ideology is, it's karma that has given birth to me in this, and the best I can do is to be a slave.
So, Dr. D'Souza, I've been to India on a number of occasions, but not being from that culture, I don't know how you recognize it. How do you know if someone is a Dalit or not a Dalit?
Most Indians are so caste conditioned, including myself, and it's part of our nature within 2-3 minutes to figure out who fits where into the caste system by asking the surname, by looking at posture, work, this, that, etc. And the Dalits can be picked up. You see, the problem with the Dalit and the caste issue is unlike racism. It's not racism because we all carry the same color. But 2,000 years of this kind of discrimination has completely dehumanized them. And that dehumanization can be seen. But then at the social structure, in the urban areas, more difficult. But once you leave the urban areas, then out in the villages and all, it's far more prominent. And everybody knows who belongs to what caste and how they have to be treated and what needs to be done and not being done.
Well, you say that you too have been impacted growing up there by this caste system. What was it that brought the plight of the Dalits to your attention?
See, like most privileged caste people, in a Christian family, parents subtly tell you that you're different from the other groups of people. So it has run across, sadly, the caste system has poisoned all religions in India. If it was just within a religion, it would have been something. It's poisoned Christianity, it's poisoned Islam, it's poisoned the whole works. And so you're always told. But for me, the introduction to this was really marrying outside of my caste to a tribal girl. And she telling me, there's a world outside which you have not known. I'm an urban educated kid, English educated kid, and this world is something that you need to look at because she is part of the tribal groups, the aboriginal groups, and you need to do something about it and attend to this.
So you have what's called the Dalit Freedom Network. What is being done to help this people group?
CBN has walked this journey with us since 2001, and you were out there in Delhi and everything else. Now when I look back, I actually am glad as to what God has done in the last 16 years. A lot of progress. First of all, there is a change, good change in large sections of the Indian government. When Prime Minister Modi, whom we work with now, before he went into elections, he said this decade is going to be the decade of the emancipation of the Dalits.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, for a campaigner to say, I'm going to do this. And then when there was a major revolt recently in Gujarat and many other places, he did a major, significant interview in the Indian media, television India, and he categorically said, yes, we have a wound in our civilization that has gone on for 2,000 years. And we must not rub it, but we need to find a solution to it. For me, that's a big encouragement of just talking about the Dalit freedom work. And then in many places now the government is willing to work with us. One of the, I mean, we free kids by opening up our own centers. And now when we started, we had nothing. We have 26,000 freed children now across the nation. But one of the groups that we focus and work on are the children of what are known as the temple prostitutes. And that for us at this present time is a huge, big issue.
Yeah. You're doing so much, and what I want to say is that it's exciting to see that we should never be discouraged so much that we don't step out to make a difference. A difference is being made by the Dalit your organization. It's will you move up the name of that for me, please? The Dalit Freedom Network. You can find out more by going to cbn.com. We've been working with them for years, and we thank you for what you do and for being with us. God bless you.
Great
to have you here. Pat?
Well, we leave you with today's Power Minute, taken from 1 Corinthians chapter 13. And now these three remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. Well, tomorrow, the Mennonite who's taking the movie industry by storm, God's Not Dead producer David White, sits down on the 700 Club to tell us about it. That's tomorrow's program. And until then, for all of us at CBN, we look forward to having you with us again tomorrow. So enjoy your day, enjoy your weekend, and get closer to Christmas. And we wish you a very, very Merry Christmas as well.